let's talk about Clark Howard. Not familiar with this person. I think this guy wears glasses and he has a call-in show. But other than that, I could not tell you a single thing of what he teaches. But, so you tell me what type of guru he is, what you like about him, what you don't.
He's a nationally syndicated radio show host. He's in radio stations all across the country. He's a bit of an older guy. He was more popular in the 90s, I think in the early 2000s, but he's still kicking around out there. He's still got a radio show. He's still got a YouTube channel, and people still pay attention to Clark Howard. I love Clark Howard. He talks about in his radio show, I'm here to help you, sock more. Can't remember how he says it. It's like put more bang in your wallet and put more bang in your wallet and help protect you from getting ripped off. That's, he's really down on, for example, timeshares. And so, he's really, so I guess he wouldn't get along with, well, anyway, so he's out to protect the consumer. He's sort of like the Ralph Nader of the financial space, which I think is good. So a lot of good things there. But again, he makes one size fits all statements about both fixed index annuities and permanent life insurance. He says, and this is what he uses over and over and over again, life insurance is a steaming hot pile of garbage, and it's only sold to you by money-grubbing life insurance salesmen. So there's a lot of charged language there. And how could you help but want to avoid not just life insurance, but life insurance salesmen with that type of characterization? He says fixed index annuities, and he really doesn't really understand how fixed index annuities works, but that hasn't stopped him from commenting on them. He basically says that, fixed index annuities are being sold by, people that tell you that you can get the upside of the market, unlimited upside of the market, and guarantee against loss. But if you don't read specific provisions in the contract, if you don't obey everything you have to do with precision, then you can experience stock market loss. So, just right there, that tells you that he doesn't fully understand that this is not a stock market product. The growth in your account is linked to the upward movement of a stock market index up to a cap, and you're guaranteed, regardless of how negligent you are of what the policy says, you're guaranteed to never lose money in the market. And so like Dave Ramsey and other gurus, they have very, very superficial understandings of how these products work, but just enough to be dangerous and just enough to give our industry a black eye when someone calls in and asks about it.
I feel like the prerequisite to be a financial guru. Do you like index funds? Yes, unless you're named Dave Ramsey. Okay. Yes. All right. Do you hate life insurance? Yes. Do you hate annuities? Yes. All right. You are qualified to speak to America, and you're just going to be super popular. I love it. There's a common theme here, and it really comes down to every one of these gurus hate annuities, hate life insurance, and don't just like not like it, but they're very adamantly against, like, you are getting ripped off. They use words like scam. They get, and that's where I think that's where it's hurtful, because it's like, listen, you have no context of this person's situation, and you don't know who's they're working with. You don't know the type of plan or strategy that's being talked about, and you have influence and you have power. And not only are you saying that the person that they're working with is a scam, but now you're creating doubt in all these people's minds from a standpoint of, like, am I doing, is my person a scam? Like, what am I doing? And you're creating even more uncertainty. And that's where I'm hoping that we can have conversations. Dave Ramsey would be at the top of my list to be able to interview. And I would love to just respectfully talk through different things. I don't necessarily think he's going to change his mind. I'm open to changing mine if he can make good points. But at the end of the day, I'm just hoping that we can have more conversations that are hopefully more getting closer to the middle. I could talk a lot about politics at this point, but
the thing is these gurus are right a lot of the time. Some of the policies that are being peddled out there, and the context in which they're being peddled, are steaming hot piles of garbage. It's true. Yep. There are some annuities that are steaming hot piles of garbage that shouldn't be used in a given context. So I don't think that whatever has inspired their particular position is necessarily coming from a bad place. It's just that when you make sweeping characterizations, sweeping statements about a given financial tool that are supposed to, you mentioned earlier, Dave Ramsey says, if you have a cash value life insurance policy, you should cash it out. No questions asked. right? He doesn't talk about whether you have lost your insurability. He doesn't talk about whether you have a massive surrender charge. You should cash it out, no questions asked. These are irresponsible statements,
Yeah.
particularly since a lot of times these have been sold the right way in the right context, and they're going to bring about a very real life benefit as a result of the stipulations in the program. And so I think that their positions have been inspired from, I think, accurate real life scenarios, but they've then taken that and they've morphed it into a worldview that is all encompassing. And I think that's the problem that I have.
Is it fair to say that if anyone's promoting one thing, blanket, we're talking even life insurance, reverse mortgages, annuities, index funds, if you're promoting one thing and it's like the blanket statement that you might be right to a group of people, but you might be wrong across the board. And I think we should there's a lot of people that are preaching infinite banking over here, and everyone needs an annuity over here, and everyone needs an IUL over here. And it's like, okay, is it possible that maybe we should take a step back and do a better job with the process of figuring out where someone wants to go, look at the data, and then look at financial tools as tools and not just like that, what you said earlier, that hammer and nail kind of deal. It's like, oh, I'm going to fit this around my agenda to prove a point. Any thoughts around that? And then my next question for you is what financial gurus out there or thought leaders out there should we be following other than you? Yeah. Is there other people that are like, you're like, hey, they got a good pulse on things, they're articulating things well, and like you will not be led astray if you're like watching or reading these people's books?
Yeah, so let's get back to your first question. If we're talking about an RIA like Ken Fisher, these people have a fiduciary responsibility to make recommendations that they can defend in a court of law. They have a fiduciary responsibility to make a recommendation, and Michael Finke drives this point home. He says, look, if an annuity can provide more income over time and give you better guarantees and a higher likelihood of purging longevity risk from your situation, and you don't bring it up, you could technically be liable. And he talks about how Ken Fisher's stance, where people call in and consult about their annuity, and he recommends that they replace the annuity every single time, without fail, replace the annuity, take the surrender charge, roll it over to Fisher Investments, and you're going to be better off. If you're a fiduciary, I don't know how you could defend that in a court of law. And so I wish more people would take, if they're not fiduciaries, I at least would hope that they would take a fiduciary approach where they could say, is the recommendation that I'm making defendable in a court of law? Okay, folks, that was part 6 of my interview with financial advisor Caleb Gilliams. In the next 10 years, I'm looking to put 1 million Americans on the road to the 0% tax bracket. If you would like some help implementing a balanced, comprehensive approach to tax-free retirement that shields you from the impact of higher taxes down the road, head on over to davidmcknight.com and click on the Connect with an Advisor button. I'm happy to refer you to an advisor in the Power Zero network that has been trained, vetted, and qualified personally by me. If you're a financial professional and want to learn how to become a certified Power Zero advisor, head over to powerzero.com and opt into my free video series. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them into the comment section below. I'll respond to every single one of them personally. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss a video. This is David McKnight. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.